invest, don't guess.
Yeah.
Like that was our biggest thing that we did this year.
Invest, don't guess.
Say if we didn't go to Hormozi. Say we didn't go to any Jocko's mustard. Didn't do anything with Pineda, and we decided to do the podcast for ourselves, ground up. Us investing all the money that we've invested over the past year has shaved years off of the progression or the progress that we've made now. You look at the price tag, and like, that's a lot of money. But if it would have took me 2 to 3 years longer, how much more money is that? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Born To Tint with the Miller Brothers. Excited to be here with my big brother and second place finisher, Josh. Gotcha, bitch.
I've also won first place the year that he ducked and didn't come. So today we talk about Ricky running 100 miles because he's insane. WFCT coming up, WFR, future plans for the Academy. We're going to have a lead form available on our profile. Find it and let us know if you're interested. Check out this episode. It's a pretty fun one, actually. Right, so you just came back from another 100-mile race. I'm sure everybody wants to know how that turned out.
I finished.
Yeah, with what, like 11 minutes to spare?
I think a little less than that. Your hat. Again, it's helping the camera that it doesn't see his face.
Yeah.
I don't want to break the camera.
Yeah.
With just under 11 minutes to spare, if I
for the
remember the
cutoff
time.
to qualify for Western States?
Yep.
That's exciting.
Running it wasn't.
Oh, yeah. It's 100 miles.
Yeah, I was on pace, though. I was holding a good pace, and I screwed myself by running too hot to begin with. I think it's a classic ultra running or running story in general when it comes to people running, is that you get talking with somebody, and you don't realize that you're not really running your race. You're not running their race, especially if they are a more advanced runner than you are.
I've been there.
And the guy definitely was. We started talking about it. This is his third time running Tahoe. He had run Western States before. So we started, shooting the shit about that. And at that point, we had just crested Snow Valley Peak, which is the highest altitude point you get in that race. You start off the first 10 miles or just under 10 miles going from Carson City up to that peak. We got to that peak, which is like getting to that peak is, it's relieving because you're like, all right, I just went uphill for 10 miles straight. But as soon as you crest that mountain, you hit the aid station, and then you just have this gorgeous view of Tahoe. It's like you're like looking up, and then all of a sudden you crest over, and it's just gorgeous. So got to the top of that, hit the aid station, got some food, filled up my water, and then I knew the next, I think it's like 5 or 6 miles, I knew it was going downhill. But steady downhill, nothing too crazy, down to Spooner Lake. And we started talking as we walked out of the aid station, and then we just both shooting the shit about the view, how like that doesn't get old. Going uphill I think took me the first 10 miles took, I want to say about 3.5 hours, which is about the pace I wanted to go anyway. It's 18-minute mile. You're going not straight uphill, but you're getting 5,000 feet of elevation right off the bat. So it's a good governor to stop you from going fast. At least for me, it was. And then you start going downhill. Well, me and him started talking, and then, because it's happened to you before too, which I should have known better too, is I kept checking my watch because I was looking at my heart rate, knowing that that's usually what I need to be checking. Make sure I'm not pushing my heart rate too high, too fast to begin with, draining the tank too early. What I wasn't paying attention to was I was running at about an 11-minute to 12-minute clip downhill. So about mile 40, 50, I realized that I'd blown my quads up, and the rest of the race kind of sucked. So live and learn. I had my eyes set on, I didn't realize that you get a different belt buckle for sub 30 hour. They have 3 belt buckles. They have silver with a gold medallion, which is sub 24. And then they have all silver, which is sub 30. And then you have all bronze, which is just you finish the race.
Rose gold, Ricky. Rose gold.
No, I'm going to take it as bronze. It was the 3rd belt. But still it's great to add another one of those to the collection. So, but no, I was able to finish. But yeah, I kind of screwed myself. But
I mean, you finished. That was the goal, right?
Well, yeah, and that's also a big part of the team effort. Great pacers. Candace killed it. She was definitely on top of me. She tried to get me going a lot faster in the night, and I also couldn't stay awake during the night. It's the first time I've had problems actually really trying to stay awake in the middle of the night. I think lead up to
Yeah.
the race kind of had a little too much to do with that, but
Yeah, so we ended up having a big account hit us up needing like 90 vehicles done immediately, and our schedule's booked out 3-4 weeks right now. So the only way to get them done is in the middle of the night. So missing a bunch of sleep 3-4 nights in a row a week before a
yeah.
100-mile race probably wasn't the most advisable thing to do, but you kind of just did what had to be done.
Work's got to get done no matter what. I mean, I was looking at it as it was kind of last minute training for sleep deprivation, but most definitely that had a hand to play
killed
in
your
it.
recovery for sure.
Yeah, but another thing too is I was slowly dosing myself with caffeine instead of like my other races. I've had like 200 or 300 milligram either a drink or shots, like the Bang. Instead of the Bang energy drink, you can get the Bang shots, which is like 300 milligrams in that small sip.
Yikes.
Last time I ran Tahoe, I timed it up kind of perfectly where when I was going through the middle of the night with my pacer, with Jake, we had hit a section where like I knew I was a couple miles away from the aid station I wanted to get to. Just timing everything up with my stomach too, is like I told him like, hey man, when we get to that aid station, I gotta lay down. Like I'm like, he saw me too. He saw that I was like sleepwalking. Like there, and then we were going downhill at the time too, in a very rocky section to where if I would have tripped the wrong way, it would have been bad. So like I told him, like I gotta lay down. And by the time we got to that aid station in 22, the first thing I did was took that shot because I needed the caffeine to kick my stomach so I could go to the bathroom. Because that's the other big thing in these races that people really don't think about is like if you're going constantly for 24 to 36 hours, at least for the pace I'm running at, you want to time it up where you're thankfully at an aid station if you have to go to the bathroom, because otherwise you're just in the middle of the woods, taking care of business, which happens, is what it is. So I had taken that 300 milligram shot in 22. It had the effect I wanted to, but it also had the effect as soon as I had 300 milligrams of caffeine, my ass was wide awake. So as soon as I got back into the tent, after going to the bathroom, it was like I looked at Jake and I was like, "Let's go! Like I'm wide awake now. Like I don't. If I lay down, I'm gonna lock up. Like
Yeah, that was smart.
yeah. So, but this time around, and it's one thing I've learned through the races, and it's technically it's translated into business too. If there's an issue or there's a problem, solve it right then. Don't wait.
Yeah.
The races have taught me that, because like Candace wanted me to keep going, but there were a couple of different points where like certain aid stations like I gotta you gotta let me sleep for 5 minutes, and I had a couple 5-minute naps, and then I had I think 2 20-minute naps, and then I had like a 5 or 10-minute nap out on a rock in the middle of the race, where Candace got a photo, which with her camera, because she's got an Android, like she can change it to where it looks like it's like daytime.
Oh.
So she showed me the photo. The photo's hilarious. We'll have to flash the photo in the middle of this, but
Yeah.
I took my shirt, put it underneath my head, and I'm just on this gigantic flat rock. Like as soon as I lay down, out. Like that was the one good thing though, being that tired. People were like, "Oh, how can you fall asleep?" Like, oh, instantly.
Yeah.
Every time I fell asleep, it was instant passed out, and then waking up to either Candace shaking my chest, like, "Hey, 20 minutes, time to go," and it's like it was refreshing. It had to happen. So I at least wasted an hour on sleeping.
Any crazy dreams?
No, just unfortunately, yeah, crazy dream, being woken up, and shit, I still have 40 miles to run, 30 miles to run. So running dreams of I still have a while to go. But I made the cutoff times in each aid station. When I got back to go pick up my second pacer, same thing. I told them like I got to lay down for 20 minutes. I laid down, passed out for 20 minutes. They woke me up, and then I was going back up the treacherous hill at Diamond Peak, where you have
Man, so you're one nap away from not making it.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it was definitely I was doing math in my runner's math in my head for the last 28 miles. Like every aid station, then breaking down, okay, how many more miles do I have? Another thing too, the scary part is like when you hit certain aid stations, they tell you that you're this far away from the finish. It's like, all right, am I actually that far away from the finish? Because Tahoe is known for running longer than I'm actually supposed to run. Technically it's supposed to be 100 miles. I ran 100.3, I think, miles. 102.3 miles. So the last two aid stations that we got into, we were fed one number, and then by the time we got to the very last aid station, it was like looking at the watch. It's like, okay, you were off by a mile. Like that's 20 minutes if I'm going stupidly slow. Like that can screw me. So when we got to the very last aid station, it was, I think we had, they're like, you have 7.2 miles left. And every single, because the three of us got in there at the same time, 3 runners, and we all said the same thing. Is it actually 7.2? And they're like, yes. Someone walked from the finish line, walked the entire route up here. It's 7.2. Because previously, like about, I think an hour prior, maybe a little, 45 minutes prior, we had a guy, thank God for, I mean, the aid stations there, the crews that work those aid stations, I tip my hat to them. They're absolutely amazing. A dude walked 3 miles up the trail from that aid station with a soft cooler filled with ice and some water. So by the time he got to us, all he had was water. But he got to us. We were 3 miles away from the aid station, which he promptly told us, "Oh yeah, 2 miles." In which both like me and Derek were like, "Are you 2 miles?" I was like, "Yeah." We're like, "Oh hell yeah, thank God. We need to get to the aid station." Like, we're both running low on water, so we filled up on ice, filled the bags with ice, filled the headbands with ice to cool ourselves down, and get to the 2 mile mark, and there isn't an aid station in sight. So we're like, any moment now, in which I will very happy I invested in this watch, because putting the actual race map into the watch, it was pretty much 100% accurate. So when the guy told me 2 miles, I was looking at it. It would give me distances from aid station to aid station. Every time I crossed into an aid station, it would tell me how much further I had until my next aid station. The watch was spot on, because when he said 2 miles, I was looking at my watch. I was like, it says 3. I was like, you sure 2? And he's like, yep. I'm like, okay. Get through 2 miles, and I'm looking at the map. I'm like, yeah, it definitely was 3 miles.
He's doing some tenor math on when he's going to arrive.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah. Exactly. So, but by the time we got to that last aid station, we had 7.2 miles. They assured us it was 7.2, and then we started doing the math. I had to run a 16:30 the rest of the way. If I ran in 16:30, and that was giving myself an extra, I think, 5 minute, like a 5-minute window of oopsie time. So, tried to start running, held the 16:30, or just under 16. I think I ran like a 15:30, and then the moment I was waiting for, which has happened in almost every single one of my races, is the adrenaline dump of knowing that I've got only so much time left. I think I only had, I want to say 2 hours, somewhere around that range. I was cutting it close. So, no, hold on. So I had 7 miles, 16-minute mile. So it's, 70. Damn. 7 times. So I had, just over 2 hours. I had just over 2 hours to finish the race. So I knew every minute or every second I could run faster than 16:30 was something I could put in the bank if I do crash and burn. And then all of a sudden the adrenaline rush hits, and then I'm able to start running again. And when I mean running like a 13-minute mile, 13:30, and I was able to take off. And even Derek was like, holy shit, you just kind of took off. And I was just like, I was waiting for it to happen. I knew it would happen eventually. And I told him, like, I'm going to continue running until my legs quit on me, because right now they don't hurt at the moment. I had the adrenaline dump, ran the next 2 or 3 miles at that 13-minute pace, and built up enough time to where I could run the last 2 miles or 2.5 miles at like a 20-minute clip. So walk and still finish. But the real mind fuck to it all was when you told 7.2 and then you hit the edge of the mountain where you can see where Carson City is. You can see where the baseball field is at Western Nevada, where you finish. And I'm looking off in the distance. I'm like, and like, I think at the time we had like 5 miles left. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, that's way more than 5 miles. Like, there's no way. And then how we're going down this hill too, we're going back and forth. So we're running towards it, and then we're running like a half mile back away from it, and then drop back down switchbacks all the way down. And like, I'm looking at the mileage. I'm like, there's no way. They're like, that's way further than goddamn 5 miles. And then every time we got closer, even when I had a mile left, from a mile out, when you're running that last mile, it looks a lot farther than it really is. And it was a mile, but still, staring at the stadium from where I was like, bullshit. That's more than a mile.
You finished at Carson High School?
Western Nevada College.
Oh, okay.
There, it's in the North CSN.
Okay.
The community college. Yeah. So it was a wild ride, and finishing, I thought I finished last, which I was,
you were second to last. Isn't last like get an extra medal or something?
I have no idea, but I found there was one dude that finished, I think 6 minutes past the drop dead time. So he finished.
I saw that.
No buckle.
Yeah.
Which that would have been, and that was one thing, like Derek made the comment, he goes, oh, you, what do you say? You started running at that finishing pace. I said, no, I'm running right now on, I didn't just go through all this pain not to finish pace. Like my legs are killing me right now. At the same time, I didn't just run for the past 10 hours knowing that if I come up this short right at the end, there's that. I couldn't. So thankfully, like again, I know that moment it happens at some point during the run where all of a sudden it's crazy too to experience that when like I couldn't run at all, couldn't put enough any weight going forward, going downhill. Like I was using my trekking poles. Like I was literally like half the time I was swinging myself, planting the trekking poles, locking my upper body, and just letting my legs swing and catching myself. And that was how I was able to stop some of the pain. But you know, you do what you can to slowly get by little, and then thankfully I was able to finish.
Yeah, well, good job, dude. I need to find one and sign back up. I need to finish because I got to the point of pain where I can't walk any further, but I didn't make it through it. So
it's a crazy feeling. It's definitely the one thing I look forward to every time I do a 100-mile race. It's a feeling I can't get to unless I do a 100-mile race, so it's hard to explain, and it's hard to relate to somebody who hasn't gotten to that point yet. But it's a wild ride. Very, very happy that I finished. You know, I learn a lot from every single one of these events, and it's impossible to learn from the event, obviously, unless I actually go and do one. And it's not like I can rattle these things off every, you know, couple weeks. I'm not David Goggins.
No, one a year is pretty damn good. When is the Western States Lottery? It's in December?
You can put in November. It is on the 6th, December 6th, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I'm going to go to Auburn this year for it. Every person I talked to said you should go there for the raffle. Because the experience by itself is amazing. And then you also get that little extra added benefit. If you're in the crowd, there's 3 seats or 3 tickets they hold to where they give you a playing card, and they actually do a drum lottery to where whoever is physically there has another chance to get in if you get pulled.
Cool.
Yeah, so you increase your odds a little bit. So this will be my 4th year entering the lottery. I think my chances are going from like 2.8% to like I think 5-point-something% of getting pulled. But 4th year is where I've seen the biggest drop off in people entering.
So come the 5th year, there's a lot less?
Oh, it drops off heavily. Like from year 3 to 4, you go from like about 20-something hundred people, at least last year, so where I saw it. You had like 2,200, 2,300 people in year 3. And then as soon as you got to year 4, it was barely over 1,000. It like dropped in half. Yeah. You get to year 5, it cascades down. And then you get to year 9, there's like 5 people. So you pretty much almost are a lock to get in if you go 9 years in a row. So
yeah. So you have doubles your amount of tickets every year?
Every year. So now I'll have 8. Next year I'll have 16, then 32, 64, 128, and then 256 is the... Usually, if you have 256, is like 5. I think the most I've seen is 9 people at the 256 mark. I have a feeling they're going to change. I wouldn't be surprised if they change back to the old rules before COVID, to where if you're not doing it consecutive years, you lose your tickets. I just think the popularity of the race is starting to get to the point where it's literally like you are winning the lottery to get in. There's so many people entering now with so many tickets.
So. Any ambitions for UTMB in the future, or is there something else after Western States that's more appealing, like Leadville or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. Leadville, Hurt 100, Badwater. Definitely want to do Badwater. Not looking forward to pavement race, but at the same time, it'd be awesome to do that race.
Man, I'll crew you on that one.
Oh, we're gonna need a big crew. That's gonna be. I mean, even beyond that,
that one doesn't sound fun at all.
Concordia, the 250. I want to do that eventually. Even what's the one in Utah?
Oh my gosh, okay. Moab.
Thank you.
Yep, Moab 240.
Love to try Moab. But those are definitely ones, obviously, I'd love to get as many 100-milers underneath. Like, when I first started doing this, I wanted to run Western States after year 1. I am so happy that didn't happen. Honestly, if I don't get pulled this year, I'll be okay with it. I would love to get one more underneath my belt, get to 5 of them, just to have that much more experience, because Westerns, I definitely want to run sub-24 in Western State. Like, obviously, finish is the goal, but at the same time, a sub-24 buckle from Western States would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah, man. I like really want to get like hardcore back into it, but I've been so focused on like running and training with Brooke that it's like that's kind of been my big focus.
Just gotta get up early.
I know I got plenty of time. I've been getting up early to run, but we've also been crazy. So, and I don't know, man. I'm getting old. I'm about to be 40. You're still.
Yeah.
Still,
no. All the
it
older,
definitely starts hitting a little bit harder. Like my energy when I'm not getting enough sleep is.
Oh no,
not good.
I think that's something I got to focus on a little bit better when it comes to even training for my next one. Obviously it means sacrificing time earlier, going to bed earlier. But I try to keep it as evenly balanced as I can of the times where I know I have 3 or 4 training days in a row where I'm only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep. But yeah, it definitely is getting to the point where sleep and recovery.
It's just trying to find that balance, like because if I get home at like 6 or later than that, and I've only got like a couple hours to spend with the family, it's like I could easily go lay down at like 7 and fall asleep and get plenty of sleep and still be up early, but then I'm not spending any time with the family, and it's like. And then I'll occasionally get caught up with, like Sunday night, I probably stay up later than I should because there's a new House of Dragons and I don't have much discipline and I gotta watch the new episode.
It comes out at 6, right? Comes at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but like last night I went out with Nikki for her birthday to dinner, and by the time we got home, we both hadn't seen it yet. I was like, let's watch that. So now I'm not in bed until, 10 something. No, we didn't. We weren't out late.
That's some old people shit right there. I was back in bed and watched a show by 10 o'clock, but still went out to dinner and had some fun on the strip.
Yeah, and 10 o'clock felt like I was to bed way too late because I was up at like 4 this morning. So, anyways, sleep has been one I need to prioritize more. Yeah. That means I got to be home earlier, and we're too busy right now for me to be home earlier because most days I'm working late. So, I guess it's something we're working on though.
Yeah, no, it's a fight to balance things out. Yeah. Like with the running and stuff, it's helps me mentally focus and produce better, but at the same time, it robs me of time. So it's finding that nice, even, sweet spot of still getting up, working out, and even this technical off season for me running wise. I just started running again. Like I took 2 weeks off. Like I really didn't do shit for 2 weeks. And I feel I enjoy it to a point because I don't have to do anything. But then as soon as I start running again and start getting into the swing of working out again, I get instant reminder of why I do it.
Yeah. When I get up early and I get a run in, like especially before Brooks cross country season started, like them training for the summer with the team, I was at least 3 mornings a week. I was going with her early morning, and those days were by far my best days of the week. But if it wasn't a day to go train with her, it was like, I'm going to get an extra hour of sleep. But it's like, I know deep down the run would have given me more energy than another hour of sleep. But the extra hour of sleep just feels so good.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
It feels so nice. So no, beyond finishing that run, I mean, that was fun. But it's nice to get back into the swing of things and think things are going to slow down. Not necessarily slow down, but I guess even out when it comes to the craziness. That hasn't happened at all, which... to be expected.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, I know this weekend we're trying to get you out the door and get you to LA to go to VCon to help hopefully foster and further the small possibility that we could sit down with Gary Vee at WFCT.
Well, we're putting it out there so much. Gary, come on, bro.
Come on, Gary. You can do Gary.
He won't see this though, so
no, unless we're gonna cut this down to a clip and just
Jordan,
target.
We gotta make a clip. Gary, remember that time on the Hangout Hawk Call session where you said you're definitely gonna compete, and collect with me at
So you can't mess up the name of that game
at WFCT. Really oh, I know it. I got 11 boxes of cards.
Well, the reason why I bring that up though is after our live conversation we had last week on WFR. With all the guys, in hearing how many people are competing in the flat glass competition. I know it's their first year of doing it and they're expanding it and they're trying to do a different take on competition for our industry, which is great to see all these competitions popping up.
I like the Ironman thing they're doing. That's really cool.
Well, I'm trying to get into all of it. But they said the Team Auto is already sold out.
You'd have to get onto somebody's team. I'm sure somebody will take you on their
team.
That's
where I reached out to Eric and Tintwiz and I was like, all right, man, I'm not trying to bug you on the weekend. But hearing the numbers of who's competing at WFR, would you be interested in sponsoring me? And without question, it was
he actually
instant.
He messaged me a little bit after you talked to me about it. Like, hey, what's going on, champ? Let me know if you want to go WFR. Like,
Yeah.
but I
So,
definitely can't go to that too, though. So,
well, the only reason why it's always fun competing. Like I feel like it's almost selfish of me to go do it, but at the same time, with what we've built now, or what we're trying to build with our social media and our marketing and the expansion of the company, is this whole journey from October of last year to where we are right now has opened my eyes on the importance of content, and keep pushing that hard. So you going to VCon this weekend is going to give us a bunch of content with you, Eric from Tintwiz, Cato, all that pushes that out even more.
Patrick will be there.
Patrick,
Yeah.
and then me even going to, like, I look at WFR and it's like literally, yeah, I'm gonna go compete, but for me, it's like my job while I'm there is to be right next to Cato, trying to get as much content as humanly possible.
That VCon I don't know. We were just at WealthCon. You didn't get to go to it, but I did, and I got to have dinner with Andy Elliott. Actually, that's another topic. But the VCon, all the events, the speakers and stuff, that's huge value too, man. There's so many top business people there. It's not. It's like a business conference. That's why I bought that NFT. So I minted a bunch of his NFTs, and I knew that he was doing something different than most of the other scams that were out there and putting some utility behind it. Being the NFT generates a new ticket every year for this event, this VCon event, which is a bunch of people that are big time into marketing and social media and business. The first year had a much heavier lean towards the NFT market, but there was still, like, Jesse Eitzler was there. I got to actually talk to him for a minute. I think he's going to be there again this time. There's like so many big business people giving speeches and giving their stories, and there's educational stuff happening everywhere, and the networking. So yeah, I'm super excited to go to that. But the WealthCon experience, being one-on-one clients with Ryan that you missed because you were at your race, that was amazing, dude. We got the diamond passes, so we got to sit behind the stage with anybody who was a speaker, got to hang out with them, take pictures. The last speaker of the event was Andy Elliott, and right before him was his wife. And they showed up and came up into that room with like a whole crew of salespeople and like his whole crew of people. And it was like when they came into the room, you knew they were there. Like, came up and shook every single person's hand. Like it was pretty sick.
I was talking to him. Is he what you expected him to be?
He's not his content. No. I mean, he is, but like, I think the clips that get pulled out and are like the ones that really like get a lot of engagement, like that's there. And when he spoke on stage, it was super high energy. All of his team of people that he brought with him, when he came out on stage, I think they carried his wife on stage when she spoke, and then when he spoke, they ran out into the crowd and were jumping on everybody's tables and getting the crowd hyped up. Anytime he asked a question to the crowd, they were shouting back an answer to the question to like help the crowd being more engaged and answer. I think the crowd was standing the whole time. Most speakers come out and go ahead, sit down. He did not do that. And then dinner afterwards, that was actually really cool. So we got to do the diamond dinner afterwards. And I didn't directly speak to him too much. A couple other people did, but I was in a conversation with him and another group of people that were there. One of them was asking how he could help teach his son how to be more of a go-getter, and his answer was actually really good. It was kind of perfect in my mind. It was like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How early are you getting up? Or, like, when do you work out? How are you eating? Like, and it was basically like, hey, in bed by 8, up in the morning, getting a workout in, get the nutrition right, and like lead by example. And Ryan was kind of testifying that that's kind of how he runs his, like, he's gonna take care of himself first and health. And his personal trainer was there, Cole, who I got to talk to a bunch, and like nutrition wise and stuff. There was a conversation kind of spun out on that, like you want to teach your kid how to be a leader and how to be in a business and how to be a go-getter. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of one of the things that stuck out, and how strong his culture was. Like, he was actually talking about how, Alex Hormozi talks about how you should be constantly getting rid of 10% of people and replacing them. And his philosophy is like much more like they're so strict at hiring based off of their culture. And like, is the person actually going to fit in culturally? If they have bad sales numbers, but they're doing what is expected when they show up to work for him, like being early, working out in the morning, proper nutrition. Like they basically were like, if somebody brought a cheeseburger into the office, like all the guys would murder them. Like it's not happening. Like there's no junk food coming into the office. So they had like such a tight culture that it's like once someone gets hired into this business, like they're not going anywhere because we've vetted them so thoroughly. Like, and then sometimes they do. It looks like they do take people that aren't necessarily already like fully on that path but want to be. Yeah. And then they'll showcase them losing a bunch of weight. Like
I've seen that he's challenged a couple of people with like $10,000 challenges and stuff like that, and lose this much weight to this point, get a 6-pack at this point. And
so like how much he was saying he was willing to like work with someone and help train them to be better at sales or whatever their role is in the company. If they're actually sticking to the culture and they have a good attitude and a good work ethic, like they're going to keep working on making them a better salesperson. But if they don't have the culture part, like they're not even coming in the door. Like that was really cool to hear.
Yeah, no, that was the one person that like when Ryan told us when they announced the dates of WealthCon, and I knew it was going to intersect with the race, and then I saw that Andy Elliott was going to be there. I was pissed. I wanted to meet him. I really wanted to meet him. Really wanted to be at that dinner.
Like, what's really cool is he like explained like his business isn't. I mean, he runs the sales department of the business, and his wife runs like the HR and all of the other side of the business. Kind of just a different version of a team of kind of like what Layla and Alex Hormozi have. But they're an educational business. Like he's 100% now just selling sales education. Yep. And they spent like 3 years recording the content of all the different sales pitches for all the different industries and all the different education that you can then plug into. So and then it's like a subscription model. So and apparently they've got like 10,000 people subscribing for really large. I think he said they did like $170 million last year in just sales training. So it's like, and then he was like, that sounds like a lot of money, but this is where I like the idea of us trying to get more into the coaching side of things. He was saying coaching, teaching, like education worldwide is like $1 billion a day.
Yeah.
So it's like his 170 million is a drop in the bucket because there's really $1 billion being spent every day on education around the world. So it's like, even if you're super niche, like window tint, like there's money to be made in education because everybody needs to know the next step.
Well, that was the other big push for me to go to WFR was if we are all the time we've been investing in this, and now with the academy, now we have conceptual drawings now of kind of where we're going to take the look of the shop, and we've been talking with contractors now, like we're about to pull the trigger on start doing the facelift on the shop, and then back into the second phase of building out the academy itself. In my eyes, going to another competition, that should be the focus, is going to not as many competitions, which would be nice, but if I can go to another competition, hopefully bag another win, that's the goal, is to go win, and already have, and you have even more credentials in the fact of like, we know what we're doing for the most part. I don't know everything, but I know that I'm damn good at what I do. Yeah. And I know where I'm bumping up right now with us scaling our business. I'm bumping up against is I don't have installers. I do, but I could use more. But it fluctuates. We have weeks where it's like, damn, I wish I had 4 to 5 more installers right now. And then it fluctuates back down to where we're still busy, but I have plenty of work for the guys I do have, and I don't want to ever get to a point where we have so many guys on staff to where it's just like they all kind of have work, but they're not busy. I want to keep my guys as busy as humanly possible. Yeah. So the next thing is cultivating the subcontractors network and being able to have an in-house academy where we can bring people in that want to learn, especially guys that are auto tinners that want to learn flat glass. I get to personally vet someone I'm training and instantly get to know, like, all right, you actually want to do this, you're really good at it, or look at what key things I think would be a good installer, and then vet them out and say, hey, would you be, if you want a phone call, if we get a big project, or if I have a project in your area, and start getting to the point where we're not just selling to Vegas, we can sell nationwide when it comes down to it.
Yeah, even at a smaller scale, like we have had several people that are doing auto tint out here, like out of a body shop or whatever, that have already DM'd us. Like, yeah, that's like the perfect person. You end up coming to a class, end up seeing that they're a good person, like, and they're
And that's
willing
the
to
main thing
learn.
for
And
me is
like, yeah, that's the extra synergy of doing the academy in my mind is like, yeah, we can also use it to help the business here. We're kind of totally going counter to what Alex Hormozi is telling people right now, though. Either go all in on your business or go educational and like running the two at the same time. So we've been talking about the school for a minute now, and we're looking like fall, winter this year. We're gonna actually start running classes.
it'll
So if
definitely
you were
be
interested, we're gonna be posting up like if you're interested, lead form basically,
yeah.
so that we can start seeing how many people are actually interested, because we're getting DMs from people left and right. So this is a good spot, Jordan, to use some of this to like, we're going to actually start putting that lead form out there.
And we've mentioned it in the past. We're actually going to do it this time because it is starting to get to the point where now we finally have the conceptual drawings of kind of at least the look, the color schemes and all that, and kind of where, because, Solar Guards is helping us stand it up. But they've been amazing too. Every conversation I've had with Steve or Rob, we just want to be here to support you. We just want to like, what do you guys need? We want to help out. Like, we don't want this to be like, we don't want Solar Guard all over the place. We want you guys front and center. We want your logo front and center. We want everything you front and center. If we're in the background, cool. That's awesome. But they've been great in the fact of saying that we just want to support and help stand this up because they know the need for an installer, especially flat glass. Like most many manufacturers, yes, auto does great, but where you can land gigantic projects and where they can sell big chunks of film at a time is on big buildings.
Yeah.
And if you're landing a big building but you don't have installers, what
or even small commercial, small residential at scale, if all of a sudden they have 100 more dealers that have now been trained, certified, and have follow-up coaching and all the stuff that they're going to be able to have with the online, having access to the class that they went to, videos, like all of that stuff ends up making it to where they're going to sell a ton more film. Any manufacturer, right?
Oh, I think that's the other big reason too. Obviously, that Eric from Tintwiz has been such a big supporter. I mean, he's kind of like helped, thankfully, inject that into our industry from when he stepped onto the scene from day one. He's just gives because he knows that investment's going to pay itself off eventually. Yeah. Like him backing us with the podcast, and then him, same thing. He's already a lifetime sponsor when it comes to the academy, and that comes from him backing us in everything else. Like no matter what, Tintwiz is going up everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Without even like, it'll be me asking him, do you care if I put your stuff up? Which I already know the answer to it. He's not going to care. He wants it wherever we can put it, and he's very appreciative of it. And he's very humble about it. And like, he's like, oh, you don't have to do, no, I want to, because I want to promote the brands that have stepped behind us and helped us grow, especially the program itself too.
That's what I was about to say. The program itself, let alone any of the extra stuff he's done, has been such a game changer for us. Like, we just had, Eric was Rewired on, and how we've stepped up our marketing and our sales and all of those things wouldn't be possible without the way we're able to use Tintwiz systematically and actually have everything tracked in a way that's, simple, intuitive, makes it easy for sales side of things. It makes it easy for the installers. It makes just all the communication, all the extra information we're able to capture in one spot and then have that right there. Like I can look at some of the other analytics that we have for Google or Meta or whatever, but I can pretty much know what those numbers are just by looking at my Tintwiz dashboard or the analytics in there, because it's capturing everything right in there too. So it's like being able to look at that as a glance and have the KPIs that like matter day to day be right there in front of your face. As soon as you open it up, you at least have like a really good barometer or temperature of what's happening in the business this week or this month.
I look forward to that. Every Monday, that's usually what I open up Tintwiz. I see where our dashboard is projecting our numbers to be at, and with how we run our Tintwiz, how we run our business is majority of the numbers in there. They have to be a fully approved car, so we sent the proposal out and the customer approved it, and then it just gets scheduled. or it's a flat glass job that's been approved. So the only thing number-wise that we look at on our dashboard is approvals. If we have someone who schedules a car and we know that we've discussed films with them over the phone, we don't put a project price in. Because in my eyes, I want that project price in the top notes, just so we know what we discussed with the customer. But I don't want my numbers to be inflated because, especially with auto, you're going to experience more. People get called into work. People cancel and stuff like that. I'd rather see my number go up. I don't want to see it go down.
So what you're saying is like Monday, say we have 50,000 booked for the week. Based off of how we're putting it in there,
that's like almost guaranteed.
That's
closest to
guaranteed.
guaranteed
Like,
probably get.
No, that's like the worst case scenario. It's pretty much only going to grow all week long.
Yes.
Based off of other stuff being scheduled and then certain appointments showing up and then approving for the upgraded tint and a windshield or whatever. So that number, like we know what our worst case scenario for the week is come Monday morning when we look in there. Yep. By the end of the week, that number is always going to go up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that drags that number down is if we do have a car that's been approved and the person gets called into work or something like that. Like, I mean, or you're tinting a house.
Something gets rescheduled.
Someone gets sick. Like, it does happen, but we set it up at least to where when we are looking at that number at the beginning of the week, like, that should be almost worst case. Like, all right, we're going to be doing that at least. That's good. And then we're like, all right, we're only going to go up from here. You'll get more phone calls, close more auto leads. Even depending on how houses are booked, sometimes fit an extra house in or an extra flat glass job here and there, depending on where the crew's at the time.
Yeah, having the map available.
Yeah,
so like, hey, this day there's actually a 2-hour gap that we could get a little bit more flat glass in. Oh, this job just approved, and it's right in the middle of those 2 jobs. Like, and it's only going to take an hour or an hour and a half to do this job. Boom, there it goes. Yeah, that's super helpful. It's funny. That's the first thing I look at on Monday too.
Yeah. I see what hill I have to climb to get to the number that I want to get to for the week. The averages I'm looking for the year. And I mean, it really does make time go faster. Thankfully, but not thankfully, because all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, we're in the beginning of August already. It feels like the year just started, especially as soon as March hit. From March to August has been a whirlwind of like, I'm just trying to find extra time anywhere I can for work. And it's like at certain points, it's like, okay, we're booked next week. Are we booked the week after that? And it's like, oh, okay, we're not. But then all of a sudden, 2 days later, after you and Manny go out, I'm like, all right, we're 2 weeks out, and I'm trying to find where I can put these other customers that want to get it done now.
Yeah, staying like 2 to 3 weeks booked out has been nice. I think like 2 to 4 is kind of the sweet spot. Yeah. Like any further than that, you start seeing stuff.
You see things fall off. You'll see people that will, they'll say they want to wait, they will wait, but at the same time, then if you're 4 weeks out, getting booked past that starts becoming an issue. They'll start looking in different directions.
Yeah, but it really depends though. Like I just had someone approve that I did the bid 2 months ago, and randomly I just saw it approved come through. It's like a $10,000 job, and they didn't even want to schedule it until September because that's when it fits into their schedule. Yep. So it's really a wide. I love those ones actually. Like kind of hit me out of nowhere. That boom, okay, a big job just approved, and they don't need it done right this second. Like it's like the ideal customer in my mind.
No, my favorite approvals are when I look at the notes and they list a date and it's at least 3 weeks out, and they're like any time between this window and it's like 3 weeks out or 4 weeks out. I'm like, most likely those ones are the easiest phone calls.
Well, that's the other thing I like about how we have in the intro now, because Cody helped us with our intros and Tim was like crazy on the proposals.
Yeah, I really don't get much blowback anymore.
Well, I put 2 to 4 weeks now because that's where we've been. I was manually changing it based off where we're at the time, but lately we've been staying in that zone and actually giving like, okay, we can get this scheduled within 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how flexible your schedule is and how soon you need it done. Because sometimes it has to be Saturday morning, and unfortunately Saturdays book up faster than say a Tuesday, whatever it might be. And everybody, for the most part, is like, okay, that makes sense. And now you've already put that in their head. So when they don't approve right on site, and then they just approve through the app, and it just comes through, and they put the notes in that are now already in that window because they're expecting it, like it does make it a lot easier to schedule.
Oh no, those are the easiest ones to get to. I see that come through. I'm like, ooh, quick.
Yeah.
Your phone call. Then I got someone that'll approve that. I'll say ASAP, and it's like, all right. Now I'm looking at where's your house at. Let me look at the schedule for the next 2 weeks. Can I squeeze you in somewhere? And most time we are, depending on the size of the job.
Well, that's where we've been tinning a little bit more the last month or so, just because it's been
Yeah, I'm actually
more and more of those.
I'm actually gonna have to start scheduling stuff for myself over the next like 2 or 3 weeks before going to compete.
Yeah.
And then let alone that'd actually be a nice warm up for WFCT. So we'll see how that goes. See if I can run that back. If I can capture WFR and WFCT within 3 weeks of each other.
Well, you might be able to get WFR, but WFCT is going to be a problem for you.
That's easy.
Well, I'm going to be there.
That's fine. You've been there the past 3 times I've won. Congratulations.
Okay.
I need my support system.
All right. Oh, man. I cannot wait to beat this guy.
Me too, because we keep having the same conversation over and over again.
You ducked me the year that you knew I was going to win.
Yeah. No, I sent you by yourself and told you better go goddamn win and come back with a trophy. And you listened. Good job.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're welcome for allowing you to have that time to shine.
I know exactly what you were doing.
Yeah. You know what? It was all. You can blame yourself for all of it, because where my thoughts went during that whole time of me trying to talk to Brendan and have Brendan jump onto my team, and then realizing like, oh, what am I doing? I'm dividing the company right now by trying to get Brendan to argue with Josh. I'm arguing with Josh.
You should have just come, and then nobody needed to argue.
We were
nobody.
not at that point in the company.
It would have been a lot of extra good content, and then it would have been 1-2. We would have had even more medals.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
you're hilarious. But what really came back to was instantly Jocko popped in my head.
I know you Jocko'd the shit out
it
of the
was
situation.
It was instant. Like, hold on, no. I think about it. I'll go to Panorama, and that's something I wanted to go to. That I haven't been in that meeting in a couple of years prior to that. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna go to that, and then no, you go to the tin off. Like,
so I get to go to Panorama this year since I'm sales.
Yeah, me, you, and me.
Yes.
Yeah, no, my next 2 months are gonna just be a whirlwind of probably the most traveling. This year actually is probably the most traveling I've done in a year, flying across the country and flying in multiple different states. Been to New York twice now. Now we're going to go to Florida, going to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Never been there before. So looking forward to that.
That's where the reunion is?
That's WFR's.
Yeah, I was glad we hopped on that live. I'm really excited about what those guys are doing. It's cool to see that there's a handful of big competitions now that are education focused and being run by the community.
Yes.
It is nice.
I think it would be a smart idea. Rick, hear me out. Put a little space in between you and the other competition to where people can go to all the competitions, because I think they all have their niche of what they are going to help our industry when it comes down to it.
I think ideally, like honestly, I think the ideal time to do these would be fall to spring. And
Tinner Battles is in the perfect spot. I hope Carlos leaves that right at the beginning of the year. That's a perfect spot for it. WFR, you just need to do like maybe two, like, I guess not.
I mean, being in the summer is
automatically
automatically got to be tanking all of their numbers, because there's so many people that cannot afford to shut their shop down if they're the tinner.
Yeah,
like there's so many smaller operations that just can't afford to do it.
Yeah, but I think the other part of it too is the reason why WFCT operates in September, is because majority of the places they go to, the convention centers are cheaper because they're usually on coastal, or they're in states or in areas where it's hurricane season. So you get a discounted rate. I mean, Virginia Beach, we pretty much experienced a hurricane at the end of that one.
That was actually pretty wild. And what was the other one in Miami that was the same thing? I heard a hurricane had just hit West Palm right before we got there.
It almost canceled it.
Yeah.
If it would have hit it head on like they thought it was going to, it would have been canceled.
Yeah, there was like palm trees all over the place when we got there.
Talking to them, they said if we do this at any other time, these locations we're priced out of them. Because if you're doing it in prime, even Virginia Beach, it's the same thing. Like in prime time in Virginia Beach, like that convention center, I mean, we were what, 10 minutes away from the beach? Like, it was a gorgeous location, but it prices them out. I mean, if anything, I'd San Antonio, that being just in the heart of Texas, like that one. I think that's why they always keep going back to that one, and it's a good location.
San Antonio's awesome.
Yeah, but like anytime they're in any of the coastal states or even close to where there's hurricanes, like we get to go to Orlando this year. Orlando's beautiful, it's fun, but still, you run the risk of a giant storm sweeping over the goddamn state. And I mean, Orlando not so much, probably not so much of a problem, but like West Palm, they're not gonna afford West Palm. It doesn't make sense financially to go during like the hype season of conventions to do a tin off in West Palm.
What is convention season typically fall to spring?
not hurricane season in those areas. I know that. Anytime you're hitting those areas during hurricane season, like the price
I just feel like
dives.
there's another way to look at it and figure it out. There's got to be a way.
There's the reason why they haven't been back to Vegas. Priced out. Cost too much. Then you have to take too much of the money away to, like they keep increasing the prize money and they keep adding more and more to the event, which is awesome for the installers and for the business owners. But if you go to a fancy or I wouldn't say higher end, but a more expensive convention center, which I mean Vegas is not cheap at all. Like they have to start.
They've never
done
Vegas. When did they do Vegas?
The beginning parts of it, 2007, 2008.
Well, then they went to Reno.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Reno.
That's what I'm saying. They could afford Reno. Anybody can afford Reno.
Exactly.
We could probably go to run a convention up in Reno.
No, I mean, if anything, they should go back to Reno again. They haven't been back to the West Coast in some time. They need to come back to the West Coast. Like they were kind of doing. It seemed like they were hopping from East, Central, West, and then they just have stayed Central and West. Which I mean, Texas is fun because it's not far. It's not a far flight. San Antonio is a blast every time we go. So I've got zero problem going
Texas
there as many times as possible. But it'd be nice if they brought it back to the West Coast.
Although if they go back to Texas, they should find something in Austin. That way we can go to the mothership.
Yeah, I'm feeling Rogan's priced us out of that one. Huh? I said Rogan's priced.
Apparently a lot of the Californians are leaving and going back to California, and the housing prices in Austin have actually started to come down. They can't stand the heat in the summer, so that's good.
Boo-hoo.
Probably good for the tin industry out there, though.
Let's open up a shop.
No, we know plenty of people that have them out there.
Mothership tint shop. Just completely bite it.
Yeah, use some AI generation to like take your face and make it look like Rogan's logo for the JRE.
We'll shave our heads. We'll just completely shave our heads, bake our heads down.
Just be a parody.
Yeah, just be a parody of the Comedy Mothership just as a tint shop.
You could gain a bunch of weight and just act like Tim Dillon.
Oh, God. Just put sunglasses on and go on rants. No, we already got that. Let's got to get Dad's ass out there. Put some sunglasses on Dad and let him go on a rant.
Yeah.
He can say some crazy shit.
Yeah, but he's more like someone that Tim Dillon would be talking shit about, not.
It's a parody for a reason. But yeah, no. No, I'm excited for the tint offs. We'll see what they bring. But yeah, the next couple of months are gonna be crazy because from the.
Oh yeah, so we did our internal tint competition, and we already released some stuff on our socials. Armando won for flat glass, and Dylan won for automotive. So who's all going this year? It's Armando, Dylan, me, you.
And then...
Is Blanchard coming?
Yeah.
Blanchard.
Okay. He got himself in there because now he's our in-house editor and content creator. Smart. Good move. It makes sense to bring him along because now we'll be able to actually create content while we're there and post it while we're there. And I'm pretty certain he's going to compete in paint protection just because he's going to be there. I mean, why not? Solar Guard's going to pay for it, so... for the entry fee.
Sweet.
And I think actually technically for everything else too, and I think about it when it comes
all right.
the
Well,
flight.
we better come home with some hardware. I'm going to do my part, but everybody else needs to
just hope I don't get into flat glass finals.
I don't care if you get in flat glass finals. You can finally get a second place.
I have a 100% win rate when I'm in the finals.
Me too. No,
you don't?
I don't. Dang it.
No, you don't?
Dang it.
I say, what are you talking about?
Dang it. I got a medal rate 100%.
That's cute. So good. You're going to come on with a second place final.
Let's go do some jiu-jitsu. Let's go do something.
I know I'll lose at that.
Okay, good.
Let's go for a run.
He just admitted it. I'll beat you on a run, too. Let's go.
Name the distance.
5K.
Oh, I'm not sprinting.
I know I could get you on a 5K right now.
No, I think I could beat you on 5K right now.
I don't know.
I wouldn't enjoy it.
I've been doing some threshold sessions.
I don't enjoy 5K
Jocko Willink style. Oh, you been watching the Olympics at all? You see that 100 meter 5/1000ths of a second?
I'm confused though. Does the face have to cross first or
No,
the
it's
foot?
the torso. It's the torso.
Oh yeah, you're gonna lose at the WSDT 3K again too.
Oh no, I'm gonna beat you at that.
Let's find out. I was injured last time too.
Me too.
I had a foot injury.
I'm gonna beat you this time.
I think I had a foot injury, and I was like 3 to 4 weeks off and not training.
Is there
because
gonna
of
be the
foot
3K again?
Yeah, we're signed up, and we signed everyone else up too. So,
oh, cool.
Dylan Armando, you're running a 3K. I don't know. Now
You're
you
not
know.
gonna see this before then, so
No,
maybe.
probably will.
Oh, we're getting closer to these coming out when we record them.
Well, we can send them out whenever we want now.
Oh, okay.
Doing all that editing in house.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
So
might be able to turn these a little bit quicker.
Right.
And then once we get them into the studio at the shop, we'll be able to do more.
yeah,
So.
we'll be able to turn them out when we need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it's torso. I saw that, but I saw the homeboy's foot. Like his foot
No,
was like
so it's
well
torso.
across.
Yeah,
And
no.
everyone was like circling the foot. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not it
No,
because that
no.
wouldn't make sense.
It's the torso. So if you watch it,
Because that dude's
our-
foot is like
yeah,
like a foot.
kind of. If you watch it though, I think his toe, the guy who won it, his toe hits the like the edge of the line, but then his torso, he leaned his torso in and just by 5/1000ths of a second.
First Olympic gold for men since 2004.
In 20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And that's crazy is that's not his top event. He's like dominant in the 200. So he's probably going to be the first person to win the 100, 200 since Usain Bolt.
Oh shit.
So that doesn't happen very often.
No.
His main event's the 200, which makes sense because he made in 50 meters in, he was in 7th place in the 100. So he went from 7th to 1st in the last 50 meters. So he was only picking up speed. So in the 200, he's like untouchable apparently. Yeah. Did
Running
you see
that
his
fast
jump before he
makes no
started?
sense.
I've already like seen the memes going around now, but that was I had to pause it, rewind it, and tell the whole family to wait. Did you guys just see that? Like this guy's gonna win. He comes out and everybody's just like standing. When he comes out, he jumps up and just like doesn't look like he even puts a lot of effort into it. He jumps up and his feet are above the heads of all the other guys. Like it looked like he's hardly even trying. It's insane.
No, I've watched as much Olympics as I kind of. I mean, because it's in Paris. Like when I could catch it, like I saw Simone Biles. I saw her dominate the vault. That was cool, and it was cool watching the chick who took 3rd in that event, another American, and like she had to crush her last 2 vaults, and like seeing her nail it was just cool. It's cool to see people put that much time into perfecting something, and then them go out on that kind of stage, knowing you're being watched by that many people, with that much pressure, and then go out there and stick it. Like, Jesus.
To me, it's knowing how much time and dedication and hard work went into it. Like
decades.
Like any of them, right? Like you don't even have to win the race. The people that are just there in the finals, even are that's a highlight of their life. Like you don't even got to win a damn medal just to make it to be like the top 8 in a race that's everybody in the world's filtered down to for the last 4 years.
Oh, just to make the Olympics for a lot of them. Holy shit, I made the Olympics.
Insane, right? Like that part gets me. And then seeing the reactions when they do win of like them with the family and stuff. That the swimming, did you see the swimming one? Man, I'm so bad with the names.
Ledecky?
Yeah, when she won one of hers and like waved at some little girl in the stands who like just has an entire meltdown of like, can't believe she just waved at me. And now she's like, there's clips of her all over the internet because they interviewed her and stuff afterwards. That's like, I don't know. That's the powerful part of the Olympics that's all I'm watching for. I know there's all kinds of controversy about like the opening ceremonies and whatever the hell the French are doing, but I'm still going to watch the running. Like I'm really excited for the 1500 finals for the men. It's going to be good.
Text me when those are on, so I actually do one. I've been trying
the
to watch
semifinals were on last night, and Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the reigning gold medalist from the last Olympics, and Josh Carr, he's British, and he just won the world championship and beat Ingebrigtsen. Those two have like a big rivalry, and like I kind of want to see Jakob win, so I'm excited to watch that one. The marathon this year is going to be sad to watch. It's going to be like really tough to watch because you should have had Calvin Kiptum against Eliud Kipchoge for the first time ever. Kiptum being the person who just broke the world record for the marathon, I believe in like November, and then died in a car crash with his trainer in like February. Super bummer.
That's
man.
like, what's it called? Dude up in Oregon.
Prefontaine.
Yeah, same thing.
I mean, like the kid had run 3 marathons ever. All 3 of them are like in the top 10 I think top 5 fastest of all time. And he broke the world record. And this is going to be the first time that he would have had a chance to race against Kipchoge, who had the world record.
Does Kipchoge have a chance of sub 2?
I think if Kipton was there, maybe, but this course apparently isn't historically very fast. But I think that was what I was excited about. I was excited to see those two push each other to like have a legit sub 2, because Kipchoge's run sub 2, but it wasn't an official race. It was like a sub 2 hour project where they had the Tesla with the laser, and he had pacers coming in and out. I've actually watched that a couple times.
It's so hard to imagine someone running that fast. It really is.
It's insane. It's like a 4:30 something mile for 26 miles. Yeah,
dead sprint.
Yeah, most people can't sprint
for
that
2
fast.
hours.
Most people can't sprint that fast for more than a couple seconds.
I don't think I can hit that speed.
Yeah,
I don't think I can get to 4:30. I can probably get to 5, maybe, and hold it for
I think
a second or two.
if you went onto that treadmill, I bet you could last like 10 seconds.
At 4:30?
Yeah, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's full out sprint. Yeah, 10 seconds maybe. But that's about it, right? And he's doing it for 2 hours. Like,
yeah,
those guys are insane. The training and dedication that goes into that. Kipton apparently was running close to 200 miles a week.
It's dedication and training, but also to the natural gifted ability of their body's anatomy is perfect for that event.
Well,
and then they just so happened to realize it, so happened to luck into the fact that they were runners. And then they also had the drive to outwork everyone else on top. Like there are anomaly stacked on top of another anomaly. Like,
it's
like Michael Phelps. Like same thing. Like what makes him so he outworks everyone, but also his body is like if you want to design a body for swimming, you look at him. Yeah. Gigantic ass torso, big ass arms.
Well, like that French kid that's breaking all of his records, same thing. Like they got that body
but
type.
you see Phelps say about, like he said, it'd probably take me 4 years, but he's like, all these guys are swimming at paces that I swam 4 years ago. He's talking about maybe coming back 4 years from now.
I
say do it. Why not?
Well, that would be cool.
Get on all the peptides and everything for the next 2 years. Train your ass off. Yeah. Whenever that window closes, get off.
That's swimming.
Go for it.
Swimming's insane to me. I've been like crazy into the running, but the biology, not just the like genetic differences or whatever, but the like the Kenyans, like literally there's studies coming out now showing that like being in the womb at altitude and like spending your early years at altitude is like almost irreplaceable. So like,
should I move to Tahoe?
So like just being born at high altitude is gonna give your body an ability to deal with using oxygen. That's an advantage that might not ever be able to be caught up to. That's why I'm like really trying to encourage Brooke to look at going to.
Don't you say UNR? I'll kick you square in the balls.
No, yuck.
Okay, good.
Come on,
I'm making sure.
No, I'm talking Northern Arizona and. NAU, Northern Arizona University, Flagstaff. They've got one of the top programs in the country, and they train and live in Flagstaff. Most of the top ultramarathoners in the U.S. will actually go live and spend time there.
Quick step back to the Tahoe race. So they changed the race up, removing some points, which I didn't realize until actually like 10 miles into the race. Like, oh, shit, we don't have to go run around the red cabin, which is like the dreaded loop in that race, which you used to have to do it twice. And then when I first did it, you did it once. It's like I want to say 1,000 feet. I think you lose maybe 700 feet of elevation, but you dip down into a canyon. It's rocky terrain, and you loop around this red cabin. And then there's like a whole backstory to it too. And then you run out of that canyon, and like in the middle of the day, it's hot as hell. So they took it out because they changed the course for when you go down the hill to finish the race. So they put a new single track in, that was a fun run. But so it was only 17,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. The first time I did it, it was 26,000. So there was like a huge difference in elevation gain and loss. Dude that took first this time. Like last time, there's 2 guys that barely finished sub 24. This dude finished 18 hours and 30 minutes. He crushed the course record, which technically isn't.
Well, it's a new course.
It's a new course. Yeah. So if anything, he set the new course record, but it was his second time running it. Every time this dude passed, I saw him 3 times. Cool as cucumber. Northern California is where he's from. I'm pretty sure, I forget which town, but northern, high elevation, high altitude. That's what we bring back to that. But like every time this dude passed, just chill as shit, sprinting along, and like every time I saw him too, I was like hyping him up as much as I possibly could. Like I was like, dude, like this is awesome. And like, and seeing all the top people too. I saw top 3 guys, top females, which I probably saw more than that, but like those are the ones like at certain times of the race, you know, they're passing you at a point where like you're in the top 3 because that's the only way you're back at this point at this time of day. Holy shit. Like it's crazy.
Well, the thing that like where I can tie this back to the tinning industry and business to me is like you see it happening in sports and it's like cut and dry. Like the times are getting faster. The athletes are clearly outperforming athletes of the past. The biggest thing that's happening is the information of like the studies being done on how much does training at altitude actually matter. Testing lactic acid, heart rate monitors, all of that stuff. And then people are going out there and they're finding that information and then they're applying it. Like that's the same thing you can be doing for your business, and that's what we've been doing and spending money on one-on-one coaching with Pineda, going to Alex Hormozi's thing. Like we've talked about this before,
Jocko.
but like yeah, so like
all the events that we are technically going to.
Education is probably the biggest leap forward in sports right now that we're seeing, where all these world records are going down. Is people are better educated on how to train more efficiently. In business, you're doing the same thing, but it's how can you make money more efficiently? How can you scale your business more efficiently? How can we skip some steps by learning mistakes others have made?
Oh, which brings me to something that me and Michelle, that's what me and Michelle were talking about the other day in the office. And I told her, I said, after I said the quote too, I was like, oh, I'm going to remember that. Invest, don't guess.
Yeah.
Like that was our biggest thing that we did this year.
Invest, don't guess.
Instead of us moseying our way through this next year, or next couple years, wouldn't even be this year, this next couple years. Say if we didn't go to Hormozi, say we didn't go to any of Jocko's musters, or we didn't do anything with Pineda, and we decided to do the podcast for ourselves, ground up. How much money we probably would have spent, but probably didn't need to spend, because camera wise, we were already looking at cameras that were like, when we went to Pineda's team, like, yeah, no, you don't want that. That's way too much, is not needed, and then explain the differences to us. Us investing all the money that we've invested over the past year has shaved years off of progression or the progress that we've made now. That you look at the price tag, you're like, that's a lot of money. But if it would have took me 2 to 3 years longer, how much more money is that? It's substantially more. So that's why I was telling Michelle, I was like, invest, don't guess. And I was like, I'm writing that shit down.
No, it's good. I mean, the Hormozi, when he talks about somebody reframed him and he shows people now, like, okay, you want to make $1 million a year, but you only make $50,000 a year. Like, you're paying $950,000 a year in ignorance debt. Like, so what can you do to learn how to get there? Because until you get there, it's actually costing you $950,000 a year to not know how to do it. Yep. So if you want to have a window tint business that can be generating $100,000, $200,000 a month regularly on flat glass without having to add too much to your business, like, there's pretty simple things you could do that, or you could take 40 years to get there. Like, I don't know. I think that's the more exciting thing for me, is coming forward to the school, is actually seeing people get success from like what we're able to teach them. Like, I'm super excited to see like how these now they seem simple little things to us, because we've actually gone through the process.
We've taken years to, unfortunately, a bunch of mistakes.
But I know that I could plug it into, I've talked to enough people in the industry and know how many people are in the scenario that we were in, or that mom or dad were in 10, 15, 20 years ago, that like, if you make those simple little tweaks, add Google AdWords with some meta ads done properly, with some good content, and then have the right CRM in place, like, there's like, I know that I could go replicate it in somebody else's business that's still doing stuff by hand. Yep. Like, very easily, I feel like. Oh, yeah. Like, almost immediately, if they're in the right market. Like, it would be instantaneous. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. I think that's probably a good spot to wrap this up at. No, that's definitely the biggest thing I look forward to when it comes to the academy, is being able to pass along, hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, what we've already seen success that we have had, but that's come with us thankfully growing up in the business and seeing the different stages of the tint industry go from where we were with mom and dad to where we got a little bit bigger, and then our ambition to keep getting bigger and bigger, and then realizing like, all right, we got to get out of our comfort zone and us willing to take the leap and go, all right, well, Dad built this gigantic base for us to where word of mouth and everything, like worst case scenario, we stop doing what we're doing with the change and we go back to what we are and we know what we can do with that. And we have a nice base there. But now we know what risks we took and then where we had our biggest gains, and then hopefully pass that along to, like, stop writing up your invoices. Here, use TintWiz. Walk in with iPad. You're not checking your glass? Take this in with you. Watch what happens when they say, well, I had 2 other guys come here. They didn't do that. Explain to them why you're doing it. You just landed that job. Like almost 9 times out of 10, if you are educating your customer in the correct way and telling them, well, I use this meter because if I blindly just put this film on here, like ceramic film, because that is the hot word. Everyone wants ceramic film. Ceramic films in homes work for if you're trying to do certain things, but on a lot of glass is going to break your glass, especially if you don't know
or not work at all.
Or not work at all. Yes, you go with the high-end clear films. You put a high-end clear film on a piece of glass that already is a high-end piece of glass. All that company's doing is taking your money and slightly improving your situation by percentages, instead of actually knocking out 50, 60% of the heat of a film that you can either put on the inside, or you go exterior and you put 82% heat, or if you really want high heat rejection, you put DX5 on and you have 91% heat rejection, and that's guaranteed 91% heat rejection.
Yeah.
So
I think people totally get stuck in a playbook of like these, like Dad definitely had it. Like here's the 5 ones I know are guaranteed good.
That's why, that's
and
why.
now you're not actually focusing on solving the problem the best you could solve it, because maybe you don't have all the tools in your arsenal to realize.
You don't know the whole equation.
Yeah.
You only know the part of the equation.
Yeah. So it's like, there's a lot of customers that aren't going to want 60% reflective, 7-year warranty, exterior installed film. But there's plenty of people that their main concern is maximum heat rejection. It's a commercial building that they don't even plan on still being in 7 years from now, because they're just a tenant in a building.
And commercial warranties aren't even that long to begin with.
Yeah, you're only going from 10 to 7, but it's like there's no difference in that to them. Yep. And their only concern is maximum heat rejection. Well, here, I'm going to show you something the other guys probably didn't even show you because they didn't think about it, or they just don't realize how much and you got the other side of it. Not only is it a better solution for the customer that their main concern is max heat rejection, is the install side of it is even easier for the most part. Sometimes it makes it more complicated, but for the most part, small commercial, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to take blinds down. I don't have to move furniture. There's a window that has a wall that cuts it in half, that now we're tinting half of the window against drywall on one side and half
now
of
you're
it.
Covering up that on the
now
outside.
On the outside, it disappears and it's one piece of film. Like, there's all these other advantages that is just, I don't know. It's just now that like we're figuring those things out and using it more and more, it's one of those things I just wish more people would realize is an option.
We keep doing what we're doing, keep plugging away. Yeah. So, all right, guys, thank you for following along. We appreciate the support, as always. Any questions or anything like that, don't hesitate to send us a DM, put it in the comments. We appreciate all the sharing and passing the information along. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And by the time this comes out, we're going to have a lead form on our profile. If you're interested in coming to school or signing up for online subscription of what we're doing for the school coming here in the future, find that lead form, click on it, let us know you're interested.
Yeah, Jordan.
Michelle's already made the lead form. We just have to, it's easy. Find the lead form, let us know you're interested so we know how many people
All right, cut out like 20 of them.
Did you already turn it off?
No.
Then subscribe.
Okay. All right,